By golly, if it don't work, somebody's getting a phone call.
Somebody's going to hear it. Yeah, it's going to work. Let's see if we can get the sound going here. Folks, we had a sound problem, and so we're going to see if we can get it back on board here. Right now, I don't even see. Yeah, everybody's saying looks like a great conversation, and nobody can hear us. Can you get on there, Michael, and see if we got sound? My phone is not going to let me. Okay, yeah, all right. That makes sense. Taking anybody can hear us. I don't know what's going on with the sound. Soundboard is not up and running. So let me do some checking here. Audio. Roadcaster. Now, how about it? We may have sound now. Looks like it defaulted on me here. It says we have sound output now. That working? Hey, folks. Well, welcome back, Chad. What a fun we had. We talked to the nobody for 20-some minutes there. So
I just hope we look good doing it.
Well, I hope so. Everybody said it looked like we had a good conversation. So I guess live broadcast, take two. Clap, here we go. So anyway, let's start over on this show, folks. Glad you could join us. We couldn't get the sound to work, but great technology, and I couldn't get it defaulted on me, and I didn't know it. So I learned something today. So we're going to start off with 125 and 60. A good thing we practiced just like the pros for this show.
Right.
Anyhow, we've been working on 125 and 60 for a couple of years, and it's we went through a lot of heartache and drawings and information and meetings. And so I got an email this week. I reached out. See, that's real redneck Southern for Rich Turk. See, to John Sanders, and he replied with some news that I didn't know. You may have knew it, but I didn't know it. And so let's just get right to it, since we're down to 3 people. I don't guess they don't like listening to us the second time. On 125 and 60, the FHWA has approved that project. Federal Highway Association, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, they have approved that. It's went to the state commission. The state commission approved that on January 5th of 2022. And so did the Federal Highway Administration. They approved it on the 5th as well. And so we moving along with that project. So what's going to happen here in this year of 2022? They're going to move forward with the right-of-way acquisition process, appraisal for property. During the same time, the design, they're going to put together plans for the contract and bidding of that project. We also working with utility companies to identify conflicts on the right-of-ways and different things that are out there. Here's where the big news is to me. We anticipate taking bids on November 22nd. If they come back good, the bid project will be awarded on the December 22nd with the proceeded notice in January or February 23 with fall 24 completion. And so I don't think we can do this as good as we did a while ago. That was a take, but I went through that way faster. But let's hope that we get good bids, huh?
Right. We hope hopefully prices don't continue crawling up, and hopefully it doesn't take away from what we're trying to accomplish here. I think most can agree that keeping that intersection, that location is a good thing for the community.
Yeah, and I think with supply issues and what's going on, let's just hope it don't come back $10 million over what they budgeted. And screw the whole project up after 4 years of 3 years of working on it and see
Right.
where we end up. And so we talked a little bit in our opening show that you couldn't hear about utilities, and really the city doesn't have utilities involved in this particular drawing that we're going to, that they'll have to move, correct?
Right. Yep. Very, very minimal utility issues with us as far as keeping it in that location.
Michael, he don't bite as good a second time around. You know, you take him off the hook and throw him back, and he don't bite as good. And so, yeah. And so the big project there would be electric company and
Right.
and
The
natural
major
gas.
impact will be electric and natural gas. Ours is a little bit of forced sewer, but very short distance, as opposed to other drawings that were presented to the public.
Right. So after a bit of a time, you know, I let that simmer for 24, and I like, oh, I wonder what's going with what we're doing on what they're calling the Northeast Outer Road. So the outer road that runs from 125 back to the new highway that's there now, which is what 243. And so here's what he had to say about that: that the Federal Highway Administration and the Environment did approve that project as well, called the Northeast Outer Road. We intend to move forward with the right-of-way acquisitions at this point, as long as the property owners choose to donate. And we talked about that. You know, most of the property owners had agreed to donate through there, but he said they have to go through the process to let them know what the appraised value of that property is in case somebody does change their mind, and go from there. The sad news, I guess, is at this point there's no funding for the construction of that Northeast Outer Road, and but they're going to proceed with the bidding and everything until we can find the money. And like you said earlier, that maybe it comes in underbid.
We can hope so. You know, I mean, the cooperation of the landowners is going to be huge. I mean, that was kind of our biggest argument, is that we had a large group of the landowners that wanted to contribute to this project because they believed in it. And you know, if that continues and the landowners are willing to provide the property needed for that outer road, that drastically reduces the cost of that project and makes it more feasible, makes that number more achievable at this point.
And that was a community project. I mean, everybody
It
chipped in, did
was.
their part, and it's, you know, we have I don't know what the best way to word it, battle or stood up for what we believed was right. Went through the process, and I think that worked well. It wasn't an easy process. The community got involved, and we want the community to get out of it what's best for our community.
It it was a project that nearly everybody involved had the same vision. And because they all had the same vision and wanted to push for one common goal there, that was to improve that intersection and create a north outer road. Everybody had the same idea at the table. You know, we'll chip our, we'll do our part, and it made the project possible.
And the city is paying how much?
We're putting $1 million
And the
into it.
county's doing the same, right?
Correct.
And is that money just for the whole project overall, or is it a specific area that it's designed for?
That money was to keep the bridge in its location,
Okay, yeah.
in its current location. Any money that was seen as a savings um, was to be put toward the outer road project, along in combination with the land acquisition, hope possible donations. We could start to etch away at that and see what our final number was going to be and what it would take to construct that outer road.
I know Billy Long's office has jumped in there and is trying to help us. I mean, that was all depending on the big bill that never went through, right? I mean,
Right.
they did pass the smaller portion of that, but that really didn't affect our project.
We were looking for an increase to the STIP, which is the project that is funding, or the funding mechanism for that entire project. And it had, you know, the large transportation package go through DC. We were looking pretty favorable at getting an increase to that STIP, but it didn't work. I mean, yeah, we've had Billy Long's office, John Black, Carla Esslinger, Mike Cunningham. I mean, everybody, Eric Burleson, everybody's been in support and trying to help us out here in our area and make a great project.
And we don't want to miss anybody, but I'm sure, you know, we may do it. But we do appreciate our elected officials jumping in there. That's what they're there for, and it really worked this time to the best they could. I mean, they spoke for us, and I thank those folks for um, jumping on board and coming and responding to the citizens of Rogersville.
Right, and I mean, Greg Smith, MoDOT, the commissioner for this area, huge props for that man. Me and our city engineer drove to Clinton, Missouri to visit with him about this project. He was very open, opened his office up, let us talk, and he's been helpful in trying to get MoDOT to look at it as a whole, as a big project, and find ways to make it happen.
Well, that's good to know. We'll wrap this. It's a safety, I think, and it's got to be better than what we're doing right now. I think it'll help the growth of Rogersville if we can especially get the outer road in there. It is going to change our community to an extent, but change is better for the most part. And even though we do resist change, especially Rich Sturts, and but it does help our community as it grows. And some of the stuff we're going to talk today is going to show you how much our community is growing. So can't wait to see what we get here a year from now and see what if we're actually on the roll or not to go. So I'm going to switch and run them a little backwards here. And a while ago when we talked, this lovely water line here was Christmas Day break.
Right.
Yeah. And like Rich Sturts, it's old and got holes in it,
Right.
And so just age project. Them guys didn't, this was on Christmas Day. Staff came in, took care of the leak. That was at B Highway and Main Street, right? Yeah.
Yep. Just age. You put something with iron in it in the ground, and it's going to deteriorate, and that's what we experienced there.
How old do you think that was? That line is?
Oh my goodness, I have no clue. I can't even.
Original line, you think?
I probably
6-inch, 4-inch.
That was
6-inch line, and then we'll switch back here. And this last Monday, we had a little problem here in. Had to shut the water off overnight for a while, as we can see. Somebody not unanimous or anonymous or whatever it goes.
Remain anonymous.
Yeah, down in the hole, fixing his guy's safety jacket on, in case car comes along and sees him before they fall in the hole.
Right.
But what was the deal with that one?
We had a line push out a gasket, started to leak at a valve. Obviously a main line there, so in order to fix that, we had to shut the town down. We try to do that after 10 o'clock so that we don't impact as many people as we would during the middle of the day.
Hey, I don't shower till 10:30, so you need to move it back.
We may have to shower a little earlier.
That's what we did. You try the best to accommodate folks and the businesses in town. Most everything shut down by 10 o'clock and do that. And where we got interrupted a while ago when we finally got a text, thanks John Pope for speaking up and saying, hey, we ain't got no voice.
I told him we blamed him for it.
So this is where we were a while ago. Part of this deal with news and notes for me is addressing some of the social media stuff and different things that are out there, and news, notes, rumors, whatever. And one of the things that blew up this week on there was about water shutoffs and what's going on with the water department. And we'll never be able to duplicate the great conversation we had a while ago again. But 753-2884 is the number to City Hall, and tell us what you need from folks that we don't have right now.
Probably the biggest when looking at, we have people come in and say they're not receiving things. First of all, as you stated before, post office is a separate entity. I know they're doing their job, maybe with lighter staff than normal. I don't know.
They're just run behind, typically get lost, whatever.
We send out bills the same time every month. We if we have a call system that if you have given us a number that you would like reminded on, it will call you. Oftentimes we find that this number has changed, or that maybe that person living with you that was getting the call is no longer living with you, and addresses, email addresses. If we don't have a good working email address, we can't inform you. Those are our methods. We have an automated phone call that goes out to remind people that they haven't paid their bill yet. If you're not receiving that, we do not either have a number or we don't have a working number.
Just a reminder, the bill's due on the 15th. Mark Big X on your calendar. The 25th, late charges apply. And on the 1st, if it don't fall on a Friday, a holiday, or it's below freezing, right?
Right.
You're not going to get shut off. But that is the shut-off date. And this time there was 70, right? 70 people on the list. And as our community grows, it's going to be there. This is a business. The utilities cost.
Right. Yep. We have to, just like a credit card company, we have to apply fees because when they're not paid, extra work is put on the city employees, whether it be to go out and shut it off, turn it back on, whatever that may be. So it does cost if the bill is not paid. So we have to do something.
Well, it's
and we try to give plenty of warning. I mean, it's due on the 15th. You don't get any late charges until the 25th. There's 10 days. You don't get shut off until the 1st. I mean, you have a lot of time there. And if we have all your information, you should be receiving some notification that something's getting ready to happen.
And if you haven't received notification, you need to call.
You need to question why that is, and then probably call us and make sure we have the right information.
Hey, we all make mistakes from time to time, especially in the holidays. You forget, you get busy, you get this, get that. But I seen this deal on Facebook too this week. This fisherman got a ticket for one fish over. Hey, we got to all take responsibility for our lives. He's one fish over. Yeah, you missed a payment. You missed a payment. You know, right. We have to take ownership of our own responsibility, and it's hard to do sometimes, and it's disappointing when your water gets shut off or you get one fish over, you know. And the guy wanted a warning ticket, but we don't give tickets. You get your water shut off because it becomes a problem. It just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds, and it's thousands of dollars that we miss out on, and we have a hard time collecting.
You know, I mean, I saw some comments on there where we wait until the end of the day to shut them off. That's not necessarily true. You know, we get a list that's generated in the office. The Public Works Department goes out and begins those shutoffs.
Hey, let's address that though. But it is not because we wait till the end of the day, because we're due diligent to wait on the mail, right, get the drop box, go through the process to give everybody the 110th chance to pay your water bill before it gets shut off. So right, most of the time it is the afternoon, but we're doing what we have to do not to shut your water off.
Right.
So
we don't want to.
Yeah, it's just extra labor.
Right.
And so don't get wound up because you want your water shut off. Take responsibility, pay the bill, and let's move on.
Right. We do wait on that day, and the office staff will get all the mail, apply that, take them off the list. We try to give every opportunity, but at some point we have to make a shut off. And
well, you get me passionate about it, you know, because again, people taking responsibility for stuff that's going on, and it's right, easy for Rich Sturts to get on there and complain about hockey players and baseball players, just as it is people get on there and complain about city staff. But
and he does that from time to time. I've seen it.
I do it a lot. So I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else. Right. I'm just saying, hey, we got to get it done. You know.
Well, I mean, and the biggest thing is understand I would rather not have a shut off list. I really would. You know, I mean, we have Apple Market you can drop a payment off in. We have the front of City Hall you can drop a payment off in. We have online payment portals. You can come in and pay it in person. You can have it ACH withdrawn from your account. There are multiple options to prevent a shut off.
And there's people who the water bills go to people in Texas, California, all over the United States because they live in different places. And it's not only residents that have problems at times. We've had apartment complexes in the past. I know that they've had to struggle because the corporate offices in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or somewhere, I don't know. But I mean, we've struggled on all ends of it,
right?
You know, so I lost my train of thought where we're going to go next on this water thing. But I don't know. What's is well 4 up and running? That's the Porter well, right? Or which Porter well?
Porter well has been repaired. There was a automatic dump valve that was sent because we have to waste it for a little while before we put it in the system. That had an electric failure on a new component, so we were waiting on a warranty on it for it to be operational in the manner it was designed to operate. It does work. Well 4 is actually we're having a brief meeting tonight to approve pulling it. We've got either a wire issue or a motor issue in well 4, and we're going to have to pull that pump. So good news for the citizens. We'll have 2 of the 3 pumps or wells in town will be fairly new.
That's awesome. Well, if you got a problem, call City Hall 753-2884, and your extension is?
My extension is 313.
313, but hit the 0. It'll go to the girls at the front desk. And
right, and understand, I mean, there are times, especially during shutoff time, where the phone is, as soon as you hang it up, it's ringing.
It's ringing, yeah.
You know, so they get a lot of phone calls.
Hey, let's move on. I'm going to talk about real fast here in the next 10 minutes about all the houses that are coming to Rogersville. And we talked in the earlier show 2 weeks ago about the sewage treatment plant handling, and we're good to go. So I'm going to run through the plats real fast. The plats that are out there currently working, some preliminary plats that were sent to P&Z, and really just give folks an update on what's going on. On the screen right now, I have Woodland Hills Phase 2, which is right here across from the fire station. You didn't know we're broadcasting today from Station 6 here at 1120 South Mill. But right across from the fire station, Phase 1 is when you drive in on Woodland Hills, and it's about 85, 90% build out in there. Over in Phase 2 now, Phase 2 has got a lot of foundations and about 3 or 4 houses up. And as you can see, I don't know how many, there's 18 or 19 lots over there. And that's the next lot happening over there in Woodland Hills. And we'll switch photos here real fast. And then they got Phase 3 and 4 that's going on. So this is Phase 3. As you drive into Woodland Hills, come off of Mill Street, go to the first right, and that's Hickory Hill Street. And so when you go into Hickory Hills, you're going to make a right, and then you'll see that there are 24 lots there. And that goes up to the north, and it's going to eventually check back into, what's the street up? Johnstown Street. Thank you. Yeah. So is that next on the development there, Michael? Or yeah. So they're it's kind of a swamp in there. It looks like marshy kind of area.
Yeah, they're gonna do a connection on the Johnstown for that commercial area up there, as well as for additional access to Woodland Hills.
Yeah, so that'd be a good outlet. You can go up and go right out to the overpass, get on the highway, come in that way. It just gives us an alternative and maybe take some of the weight off of Farm Road 253 over there and be able to navigate a little better. And they hope to have that done by the end of summer. Or
we're still working in that process.
Oh, engineering, huh? That, yep. Yeah. There's some sinkholes in there, I'm sure, and some stuff going on. And let me get my phone going here again. And that's just Phase 4, which I didn't understand why they broke Phase 4 out like that. It's just at the end of the cul-de-sac, and it's got 8 lots in there. And so that from the time the preliminary plat came until where we're at today has changed, like all subdivisions, multiple times based on engineering.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, mainly the preliminaries usually stay the same. I mean, they look a lot like the final plat, but there's some infrastructure changes and things that happen.
Well, this preliminary plat, I guarantee you, don't look anything like it. Maybe this is the exception to the rule, but
this one's been through quite a few revisions.
Yeah, it's and again, it's a growing community as we go, and there's several houses going in there, and he continues to work on that project. The next one that we talk about a little bit in the map is not near as good. Is the Lakewood Estates? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
And that's over there off of Lakeside Street. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of hard to see there, but you can see the streets are in there. And I don't know how many lots is in there. And there's 30 or 40, maybe 48. See, that's what we got you sharp on the brain. Right. You're still a young man, see, and not holes in your pipes like over on the other side. And so that's place is moving right along too. I mean, it's he's put up a bunch of houses over there in a hurry. Mm-hmm. And so again, Lakeside Street is going to be pretty dang busy over there, back and forth. And get by there, check it out. Don't go steal nothing because they got cameras everywhere. I see people messing with their cameras, but that's the subdivision. And then the one that went to the most recent planning and zoning, Theron Place. Is that right? Is that how you pronounce Theron Place? And that's just right here beside the fire station. If you look at that little notch in the top right corner, that's the fire station. And sitting right next to us is a field here. And so that's the preliminary plat that got presented to City Council, not City Council, Planning and Zoning. And you remember how many houses? I forgot how many.
90 or 91.
Yeah, I thought it was 104, and we reduced that on lot sizes to get that down a little bit. But again, where does this guy go next? And this probably presented a preliminary plat. Is he good to start on these streets, going to engineering? How does that? Where do we do once you go to planning and zoning and present that?
He's going to start submitting construction drawings for us to review and approve, and then we'll have a pre-construction meeting. All the infrastructure will be installed and approved by the city of Rogersville. Once that's done, then we will accept a final plat on it. Up until a final plat acceptance, he can occupy any homes at that
Right.
point.
Well, it's hard to see, but there is a red line there, phase 1, phase 2, and he'll do that in 2 phases. And the final plat, is that what you build off from, or is the final plat just once it's done and then you record the final plat?
Recorded once it's done.
Yeah, and so I'm always battling with that. Michael's always got to plug the holes in the pipe to get me going again.
Right.
Tell me, I mean, that's a topic today since the pipe was on there. And so, I mean, that's exciting coming to town. That's a big subdivision. I mean, lots of building going on. Is the starter homes are went up a bit of price here. And let me see here. I got one more subdivision that's not in the city, but I'm going to talk about it. This is down in Highland Springs, and it's called Vintage Point, and there's 54 homes on that. So on the as you look on the screen, the right side, that's Farm Road 189 across from the Bank of Rogersville. There goes down, and you can see the design that's going there on Highland Springs, and they've cleared the land in there, and they're starting their whole process that got approved over a year ago, I think. And the reason I bring that up, it's not really involves any of our infrastructure, but it does involve our community. Number one, that's more school kids that's in our school district. Number two, traffic wise on the interstate or on 60, not the interstate. It is going to increase the traffic there. And that 189 Highland Springs area already is a calamity corner. We have more wrecks right now at Highland Springs Boulevard and 60 than we do anywhere. And so you add 54 more homes in the 189 corridor, just down the road from Highland Springs. And we know how busy it is now. And trying to get people across the highway there could be a challenge.
Right.
And hopefully someday they'll build an outer road there to tie all that into J Highway and then in and just use that bridge as the overpass and go from there. Sorry for the two takes we had to take today.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't bring my other notes that we had, but we've tied up an hour of both our time. Oh, hey, Michael, can you turn the camera? Let me go back to the camera here. You get it set. See if you can put it on the building. We did get the building plans for the new Come and Go. So we want to, we all know what Come and Go looks like, but we just, let's see. You get it in there and I'll switch the camera over here and see. It's kind of hard to see. Can you lift, unplug the power button? It'll run without the power button. Pull it out there. And then you might be able to see, I made you work. Live movie star here.
He was just here to deliver some plans to you.
So is that what the front of the building looks like? And it's just called the Rogersville Come and Go. Is that what the name on it? So you can put it back down and put it back toward us and wherever. But we do get the building plans on that, and it's in the review process. And he just got those this week, so it'll be a few days on that process. And
a few,
yeah, they the backlighting on the camera is not the best. We'll continue to mess with our angles here, but the internet is a lot better here than up at the other station. We're in the conference room, but we got to get some soundboards. We shot video in there yesterday for Tom, and it sounded like we were at the circus. And it was so vibrant, echoing. But that's on the way. Have we heard anything from Jim when he's moving in his new pharmacy? Have we heard anything from him, Michael? Yeah, I need to go over and see him. He does nothing in a hurry. I mean, he's been doing this project for 2 years now. And so it's moved from a new building to the old bank and back and forth. And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That'll be good for him. Sign looks good.
Yeah, the sign looks awesome. It does look awesome. Did you do any, I know we've been busy, but I told you yesterday about the sales tax growth in the last quarter or anything. Did you look at any of those numbers?
The last payment we received, we were up $9,000 in sales tax from a year out. Our biggest jump was actually during the pandemic. People really shop local, and I can't tell you how thankful we are that's the way that went. But yeah, our sales tax was up $9,209 from the previous month, 1 year, or the month 1 year out.
I don't know what that means. Try to explain that where we can understand that.
Okay. Yeah. So January 2022 compared to January 2021.
Okay.
There was a $9,000 difference. But, some of that probably has to do with the price of goods. You know, the more it costs, the more sales tax is going to be collected. So
that's true. Never thought of that. So like the new place out here.
American made.
American made. When will we see the revenue sales tax coming off of that? Is that reported in a quarter, or is that a month, or?
I mean, we get it by the month.
By the month.
So we will. I mean, that number there could be a reflection of them as well being in here. You know, we don't see them broke out individually.
Right. Yeah.
And the reason for that is when you request that, whoever's name's on that, if that information ever got out,
right,
that person has criminal charges. So that's kind of, you know, we want to monitor that it is going up.
Yeah, we don't want to know the individual places, because it just opens up a whole rabbit hole that you don't want to get into there. So anyway, if you got something you want us to talk about, I'm really out of stuff to talk about for next week. We're going to have to dig around and see what we can find.
I'm certain in a week we can find something.
Oh, I'm sure. Is planning and zoning was canceled this week, right?
It was.
Are they meeting next week?
They will meet February the 8th.
It's February the 8th. So they just abolish that meeting and go to the next scheduled meeting.
Right.
City council meets again. Won't be this coming Monday because it's the 31st. It'll be the next deal.
The next Monday.
And so anyhow, we'll find something we can surely talk about. Get on here. If you got any ideas, questions, or any comments you want, call us. Let me know. Send me an email. You can holler at me. Don't like what I'm doing. So, I mean, it is what it is. And so we're just trying to get the information out to the public and address people best we can. I think to me, a media, no matter what means it is, from the news to the social media, whatever we can do to help get our point across what we're trying to do is great. And it's vice versa. People can do the same out there. Right. If you got something you want to talk about, give me a call and I'll be glad to entertain the idea and listen to it. I know that a lot of stuff going on and see what's happening. So anyway, for Chad Bybee, Rich Sturts, Michael Heifel, we'll see you next week here on Rogersville News and Notes. Watch take 2.